Welcome back to Dungeons and Designers, Campaign 2, Episode 001. We've done all our character creation. We did our session 0. We're going to introduce the world now and start living in it. Before we do that, I just want to thank everyone for the support over the last few weeks as we've been releasing weekly episodes. We are up to, I believe, 5 patrons now, which is huge helps. The newest one asked not to be shouted out, so we're not going to do that and embarrass them, I guess.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know who you are.
New friend.
And then on today's episode, Dan couldn't join us, so it's just going to be Courtney, Zach, and I. And then Dan will come back in next week. So let's just get into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Today,
Let's D some D.
let's D some D.
Don't laugh at that.
All right. Today we're starting our episode on the 4th ring, the largest ring on the station. This ring was created to host the lower class as they escape from Toril. So what you see in this ring are kind of old steel metal structures packed with people. The streets are shoulder to shoulder. These people have nowhere else to really go. Everyone has different levels they have access to. The 4th ring has probably the fewest levels they have the access to. And as our camera pans down the street, we go into a room that's dark because it's probably 4 or 5 in the morning, and an alarm is going off, and you can tell that this alarm has been snoozed because the creature that's beginning to wake up is clearly late for work. Zach, do you want to introduce your character?
Sure. I'm going to be playing this session as Wick, a Kinku. She is 4'11", 112 pounds, 21 years old. Kinku are a crow raven-like species, where the Aarakocra are beautiful eagles and falcons. The Kinku are just all black covered. She's covered in thick black color feathers, each with a purple iridescent sheen along the edge, all the way to her elbows and knees, that then transition to scaly forearms and legs, respectively. She is currently sleeping in and will generally wear an olive green jumpsuit that she's got bunched up and pushed up to her elbows and knees. It's covered in cargo pockets. It's got buttons on the side instead of zippers, with some nice sky blue accents on the shoulders and knees. And we'll see where she gets to work. There's some buttons on the back of her neck where she can attach a hood if she needs to. And she rolls over and hits the alarm clock, and the first thing you hear is just kind of this electric whirring noise as she kind of groans to herself and starts to push her way out of bed. She doesn't. Well, we'll see how she talks in a minute. We'll go on with that.
Have you put any thought into like what your small like apartment building looks like, or are there any things in there that you would own?
There's in the corner above her bed, there's just a rope going across with a few other variations of the exact same jumpsuit that are either clean or dirty. It's just in variation of being washed or not. There's a small bag next to the door. And other than that, there's just a small bathroom water closet, hot plate on a counter with 2 or 3, and a small mini fridge near the door.
And I think what you're describing would be the majority of homes down here. Very much like the bare minimum. In addition to all that, this ring is many degrees colder than the rest, because like to save energy, this giant ring has always been kept at just warm enough, like mid to high 40s, just warm enough to keep everyone okay, but the cheapest and most energy efficient. So as you get up, like you can even see like little bits of your breath sometimes.
Yeah, and she's just gonna kind of stir out of bed, adjust some more buttons on her jumpsuit, and again just grumbling. And as she does, instead of any actual noises, just robotic mumblings and kind of like not too dissimilar from like an internet jump starting in the 90s or something. Just kind of a machine starting up. Grab some quick breakfast from the mini fridge, some quinoa,
Yeah.
vegetables, and she doesn't wear shoes or anything, so she grabs a quick bowl and just heads out the door.
Cool. And as you exit, you, because you live here, would already know this, but for everyone else, as you look left and right, you can see the floor curving up. So instead of seeing a horizon line, you're living on the backside of a giant cylinder that's constantly in rotation, creating this fake gravity. There's a main road in front of your apartment, and that's where everybody is just packed full of people walking. Above you, you can see these hanging displays, digital displays with Deckham Broadstone, like video recordings of him, and he's the governor of this ring. And it says like repetitive messages to keep people in line, like look for the ore in the stone and be careful not to trash the steel with the slag. And Broadstone is a family who's always run the fourth ring, and they're a hardy dwarf who are given the fourth ring to keep kind of like the scoundrels in line and keep this like low income ring in place. So Wick knows that she would need to get to the elevator to access the 6th floor for work.
She's going to pull her hood up as a protectant against the cold and anybody else who may be around up to no good. The fourth ring, especially where she's at, can be kind of rough.
Mm-hmm.
There's some gang activity, a lot of gang activity. So she tries to keep to herself and kind of low key. So maybe not quite back alleys, but staying close to him if she needs to.
Yeah.
Just heading towards the elevators.
Yeah, and as you're making your way, there is only one elevator access for this giant ring, so it could take you, minutes to get to at least. And as you're traveling through and you're kind of pushing through the crowds, you see a giant hobgoblin just whip a bottle at one of the big displays of Decrum Broadstone. And immediately after the bottle crashes on the display, it doesn't do any damage, but you hear behind you someone yell, "Don't move!" And as they do that, you see a dwarf in full white armor, wearing a very traditionally inspired helmet with hammers on either side, push you and run towards the hobgoblin. Immediately, the hobgoblin is surrounded by 4 of these dwarves. And you know that they're part of the security force called the Hammers. And they're part of a gang called Gang of Morden, which is technically illegal on this station, but because of Decker and Broadstone and the political movements there, this gang is what enforces order within the fourth ring. So you see them say, "Don't move," and then you watch one dwarf pull from his like back satchel a small hammer and just maul the hobgoblin in the face, and the hobgoblin drops. Now there's quite a audience around watching this, and as that dwarf goes for another hit, a smaller female dwarf runs up, stops him, and starts healing. And she's also wearing all white with like gold accents and a hammer embroidered onto her shirt. And she like wards off the dwarf and starts healing him, saying things like, "He won't be able to throw a bottle anymore. There's no need for this." Do you want to keep moving to the elevator?
Yeah, she kind of looks at it, shakes her head, and takes interest in the female dwarf. Just kind of, you don't see them out a lot.
No, but something you do know is that this gang of Morden is split up into what they call the Hammers, who are these big, beefy dwarves that wear heavy armor and always carry either a pistol or some sort of weapon with this little hammer that they use as almost like a disrespect. There's a second group called the Sun Lenore, and that's they're not all female, right? They're male, female, but they're non-violent sections of this, because Morden is such a law-focused god. This is kind of like the balance of the order, where you have both the fist and the heart, and both of them will keep this in order and keep everyone theoretically alive and balanced. So as you start making your way to the elevator, you can see already, because it's the morning commute, there's a line forming towards the elevator. Mm-hmm. What the elevator looks like on all platforms, all rings, it's a giant cylinder that has a ring of capsules all along it. So there might be 12 all around this big pipe, and this pipe goes straight up through the ceiling of your ring to a middle shaft that connects all of them. And it's very much like those vacuum tube. We used to have at banks. I don't know where else you would see them anymore.
Yeah.
But like once you get in, it shoots you up into the main shaft and then sends you to the other level and then brings you back down into another ring. So as you wait your turn, everything's fairly normal. It's the same crowd. Like no one stands out. Everyone's definitely your same income type level. Like no one's, their clothes, they could be clean, could be dirty. And as you get your turn to the elevator, you step in, you slip your feet into these two little loops, and you are shot up. And as you exit the ceiling of your ring, gravity begins to disappear because you are no longer on the outside radius of this rotation. And as you're brought into the main shaft, your feet being slipped in are the only thing holding you in. One little thing I forgot to mention was when you got into your elevator, where the buttons are to tell you like which ring do you want to go to, your ID automatically pops up on screen. And out of all 12 buttons, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 are the only ones you have access to. Because the way this works is everyone has access to the rings below them and 6. Everyone on the ship has access to 6. So as you get to 6, the door opens. I will say
when she's in the elevator and it hits that low gravity spot,
yeah,
her mood shifts and her eyes close and she kind of puts her arms out a little bit and just pretends she's flying and just takes that in.
Right, because I don't know if we mentioned it or not. Different from the Aarakocra is that Kenku can't fly; they don't have wings.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, you're weightless. You're making your way up past 5 into the 6th ring. Your capsule rotates and kind of comes right back down into the 6th ring, which is much smaller than the 4th, but still one of the larger rings on the station.
It's mostly for shopping and restaurants and
so
like that.
The 6th ring is called the terminal. Any visitor lives or lives. There's hotels, there's apartments, but yeah. So the terminal has all the visitors and all the shops and the majority of the restaurants for the station because that's where all the commerce comes in and out of. Where the 4th ring was very utilitarian and kind of cold, the 6th ring is the opposite. As the door opens in front of you, you see a large band of foliage with the center of this ring being garden. Maybe 30 to 50 feet in front of you, there's a giant gold statue to Lathander, who the station is named after, one of the gods of Toril. The ceiling, instead of being the ceiling at 4th floor, I don't know if I mentioned, is only around 30 feet tall, and all the buildings go straight to the ceiling. The ceiling here is like 60 feet tall, with most of the buildings only reaching the 4th or 5th floors. So all the buildings around here have little roofs, and it feels much more open. There's a warmth. There's the foliage. In the ceiling, there are occasionally giant panels of glass. So if you look up, you can see out to other stars, and the most prominent thing you see is Toril, the planet we are all orbiting, and it's just ashes and fire. So you can see kind of just like this red, crusty, destroyed planet that you guys are just kind of spinning around. I guess it's a good time. Let me bring up the map, and we can kind of...
It's the map. It's the map. It's the map. It's the map.
Oop, okay,
it's
and then...
the map. It's the map.
Okay, so...
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah, you are at D, which is the elevator ring that we were talking about. As you see like this thin green patch that kind of goes past through the elevator. C on the map is where Lathander statue is. You know, if we're looking at this, you need to go west quite a bit. because if I bring it up, I believe what is on our map is 7 is the restaurant you work at, the Capri Sea Bar.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you like to do? Is there anything that you want to do other than just start hustling over?
No, I'm already running late, so I'm just gonna.
You are already running late. Cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna hoof it.
So if I go
claw it, I guess, since she has claws and not hooves.
Okay, so you're gonna start. Your goal is to kind of get here.
Yeah.
So we're gonna cut away from you. You've gotten to your job. Did you want to say what you do at this job?
Oh, sure. She just runs in. I go in the back of the restaurant through the back door. There's a series of hooks on the back door, or next to it. She just grabs her apron. It's a navy blue apron. Says Wick in white, just embroidered in there, and she just runs and jumps right on the line, just looking right at the other folks who kind of give her a dirty look.
Yeah, and the Capri Sea Bar is out of all the restaurants on the 6th ring, it's one of the higher middle class restaurants. Capri being one of the planets that is in this kind of galaxy. It's a world of water, so Capri Sea Bar makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it's a little bit more higher end, a little bit more expensive, is because getting real food on the station is hard. A lot of people are eating manufactured, more engineered food, and Capri Sea Bar is known for being able to bring in fish from the planet, which makes it a little pricier.
Puts on her little chef hat.
Yeah.
Not the big chef hats. What are those little round ones from like Ratatouille? One of those.
Yeah.
And just grabs a ticket that's in front of her and just starts putting it together. And then I guess we fade out too.
Yeah. And so hours later, we hear another buzzing. And this one is coming from the 6th ring that we're already on. But this buzzing, instead of being an alarm, is a phone. And Courtney, do you want to introduce your character as you begin to wake up and reach for your phone?
I'm getting a wake-up call.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all sprawled out on the bed like a tornado. And I guess if I describe what I look like first, my mouth is all open with like some drool hanging out. And then I reach for the phone and pick it up.
And just in case people didn't listen to your character episode, you're a tabaxi, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm a kitty cat.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to it.
No.
Okay.
Good.
So what I look like is I have really short hair and I look kind of like a leopard, but the house cat version. So I have really short hair and kind of yellowish fur that's all ripply. And then I have these red rosettes all over my body and really big eyes. And I suppose right now I'm wearing pajamas, but my day clothes are a little cape kind of thing with a sweetheart top and high-waisted pants. But my room is kind of dark right now, and I have a little plant in the corner with like a little grow light over it. But otherwise, I haven't been here for very long.
No, and the building you live in is one of the apartments I briefly mentioned, where visitors who are going to stay on the station for longer than a couple of days often get an apartment on this outer ring. So along the edges of the 6th ring, there's just apartment buildings. So diplomats, visitors, travelers, traders, anyone who wouldn't live on one of the more permanent rings would live in these little apartment buildings, and that's where you're going to be. So we're going to just turn on your light. Boop. So you're on the 3rd floor of a 4-floor building. Your windows are covered by curtains that are blocking out all light. But as you reach for your phone, you realize it's already 1 o'clock. So you far slept over your sprawled tornado body.
Yeah.
And it's just ringing, and you see that it's the Capri Sea Bar calling.
Okay. Is there a person on the other end? Hello?
Yeah, and as you pick up the phone, you hear a slightly echoed voice, and it's the owner of the Capri Sea Bar, Gasco, who you're familiar enough with. And he was just like, Peg, are you coming in for your reservation today? It was at 1 o'clock and you're not here.
Oh, coming. Hold my reservation.
All right. You just need to hurry, and he just hangs up.
I'm gonna run because I like to run.
Yeah. So are you gonna get out of your pajamas?
Yeah, but only just. I'll leave my pajama pants on, and then head out towards the middle ring through the gardens.
Cool. So as you're kind of making your way through, you pass a lot of other stores, including 8, which I believe, let me check my notes, is, Old Toril. So another restaurant that's fairly high end is this restaurant called Old Toril, which claims to sell authentic food from the Blood War. So 800, 900 years ago, they're saying like, this is the food you would have eaten all the way back then on Toril. Though much of it is that engineered food we were talking about. So it's kind of hokey. You can see like the floor has like this dirt and there's like bits of hay to like try to make it feel like an old tavern. But everything else is very modern. There's a robot server and it's weird. There's like a robot in the back playing a little mandolin. But what you do when you pass it behind, you see a little crowd formed around this boy. And as you peer over, you see as he's doing magic card tricks and producing little bits of flame in his hands. And you see him just like performing and people are giving him money. And as someone throws in $1 or like a digital currency to his like little bank, she turns around and like raises her hand to her face and then just walks off. Instantly, you see 2 soldiers coming down with like jet boots and they land around and grab the child. They're kind of similar to the dwarves that you saw in the 4th ring, but instead of wearing white, they wear this dark gray. And instead of wearing traditional helmets, they wear complete face coverings with a tinted out face shield. And both of them are armed with rifles, and one of them grabs it, the other one has a rifle, and you hear him yell out, "Raise your hands, you're being detained by the law for breaking section 001 of the Covenant. Magic use is a crime punishable by death in the courts." And as they grab the kid and raise his hand, his sleeves slip down, and you see little devices on both arms. And they quickly realize this wasn't magic at all, but a performance. But because they are here, they're going to take him away anyway. Like, you don't pretend like you did magic on the 6th ring with any ring at all because it is completely forbid. Wick would know this for sure. Courtney, why don't you give us a history check, maybe? Or a straight wisdom roll.
Okay. Let's do that.
To see if you know who these guys are, because you're not really from here.
Okay, I got a 10.
Cool, 10's plenty. What you know, and Wick would know, but from years ago, is that when you come onto the station, you sign a covenant, which is the bylaws of the station, and what it says is that you agree to follow all of the rules. The first being no magic use.
Okay.
The soldiers that appeared are called the Covenant because they withhold the covenant. You are making a pact with them. If you break it, they will arrest you and bring you to the courts that will deal with you quickly. So these are just Covenant soldiers. You don't know much about them. But yeah, I think that's everything. Is there anything you want to do? Do you want to keep running to your Capri Sea bar?
Yeah, I would think that I have a little spot in the garden on the way that I like to grab a flower or like some grass on to chew. So I'm gonna do that. Although I would say this is an abnormal morning, that I'm a little bit stressed about what just happened because I haven't necessarily seen like law enforcement swarm like that before.
No, you'll see them around for sure.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a show of force. one big difference was on the fourth ring when the hammers came and took this hobgoblin. It was like a show. Like people circled and it was like a normal thing. They knew what was going to happen. Here, when this happened, the crowd that was there just dispersed. And as you keep walking, everyone else is just acting like nothing's happening.
That would freak me out a little bit. So I might pick up my pace a little, but kind of know what's happening. And I'm on my way to the C bar.
Yeah, so you kind of cut down to the garden paths and run along that towards the C bar.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can still see plenty of Covenanters walking around peacefully in their black uniform, their black armor. And other than that, you can see creatures of every race. This sixth ring is really a melting pot of cultures from all the different planets, other stations, travelers, people just interested in what Toril is doing and maybe what happened to Toril. Others here just before they go to other planets like Anadia. So everywhere. And everyone seems like they don't have a care in the world. Like the sixth ring really is built just to be a relaxing break from the coldness of space. Mm-hmm. So yeah, as you make your way to Carpri Sea Bar, nothing else really happens unless you want to do something.
I feel like I'm pretty late, so all of the variety of what's happening gets me really excited, but I'm gonna keep running because I want food.
Yeah, that makes sense. So as you run up, different than how Zach or Wick got there, he went through the back. You're gonna go through the front. Mm-hmm. In the front of the C bar is let me just move your character real quick. Boop. The front of the C bar is just a giant glass face, and within the glass face you see just a giant aquarium that wraps around the restaurant and creating different rooms in the restaurant filled with fish. So it's very similar to like eating in an aquarium. Mm-hmm. The one thing that stands out in this aquarium is Gaska, a sea elf who requires water to live, who is in the tank. And as you walk up to the restaurant, he comes up to the glass wearing his helmet that has like the mic. And he was like, you really need to stop showing up so late to your reservations. I know you are a wanted guest. Having people from Carpri is a huge blessing to us. We know that you fully appreciate the food we have here. But it's time to
kind of signal to him like, oh my god, it won't happen again.
Yeah, and you see him working on like a little tablet device, and a table in the back corner kind of lights up, and you know that that's your table. He can't bring you because he's in the tank, so he's got things set up to kind of handle all the work in the restaurant.
Okay, I just kind of wave at him and walk away, and because I feel really, whatever he tells me to do, I'm gonna do because I feel grateful to him.
Sure.
Because he's from my home planet. And walk over to the table.
Cool. And as you walk over the table, it's just in between two tanks. And on the table itself, there's just a little tablet where you can do your ordering.
Okay. I'm going to put in my usual, which it's funny that there's so much synthetic food here, but okay, so my first order is going to be a little bit of seaweed salad, which is kind of ironic because that's what the ground was made of that we lived on Carpri. But and then a little bit of like a little rice patties on the side.
Yeah, things that would require both a lot of water to grow. But like it being the ground that, so for those who don't know, which there's a good reason that none of our listeners should know, Carpri is a water world that across the equator there's a belt of kelp, and there are very few settlements, but the settlements on Carpri have built their structures on these kind of weird semi-liquidy, floaty, buoyanty kelp beds. Mm-hmm. And then beneath the surface, there are huge communities of sea elves and other creatures that live in the water. Mm-hmm. So your group, your clan, your family just lived on one of these structures that was kind of floating on the kelp bed.
Yeah, and I kind of feel beholden to the sea life underneath because we are kind of imposing on their sea kelp.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So that's what I'm going to do. Put in my little order that doesn't really contain fish because we don't really eat fish.
Cool. So as you do that, the order comes back and eventually gets to Wick, who's in the back there cooking.
Yeah, it's been a hard day on the back, so she's just getting more and more irritated. And then this order pops up of the seafood salad or the seaweed salad, which is probably something people don't order a lot living on the ring. Maybe some people come on and want to try something new or fancy, or they already know what it is. But people on the island are like, grass. That's not...
So I believe it's the 5th ring. I could double check. But there's a ring that does all agriculture and farming. And it's kind of like arrow farming, right? So it's just hanging plants. So plants on this planet, other than this kind of synthetic food, plants are fairly common. So people who come to Capri Sea Bar don't come for more plants, right? They're coming for fish. But because seaweed and this kind of kelp salad would have a special attraction to Peg, it makes total sense. Just other people, and you would be like, this is the cheapest thing on the menu.
Yeah, just grumbles. Grab some sesame seeds, throw them in there. Some rice vinegar, put it in there. Just mix it up.
Yeah.
Just throw it under the warming light, and then just move to the next ticket.
And this being like the lunch period, there are people, like all the tables are filled. That's why he called you, right? He was like going to give your table away. And the couple of waiters that are kind of working in there have their hands full and they're running around. And the head chef goes, Wick, can you just bring that out?
She looks at him. She looks at him and just kind of like, when she talks, she opens her mouth. What you would expect a 4'11" crow to sound like is not what comes out. Instead, it begins with a series of small beeps, like a tape recorder initiating almost. And then this voice that just sounds deep and out of place and kind of ripples a little bit, like it might be distorted or out of place, like it was captured somewhere else. And some AI is putting it together really quickly. Just says, I can't go out there.
And he just gives you a look like, just do what I said, and goes back to cooking because he's like moving faster than anybody.
And she just sighs again, and it just walks around, takes the hat off, and just sets it down, and kind of pulls the hood up, grabs the bowl of the seaweed salad, pushes the door open, and says "left," and starts walking to her table to deliver it to her.
Yeah, and Peg is here enough that you kind of are familiar. So you bring the plate over.
Yeah, just set it in front of her and says, anything else I can get for you?
No, this is amazing.
And she just looks around and like, amazing. I mean, you don't have to be rude. I can get you something else.
I'm trying to look inside the hood to see your eyes. And like, oh, well, I suppose a water. But no, thank you. I know you're really busy here right now, so don't mind me at all.
Would you like some cucumber or lemon in it too? And she just kind of mumbles and walks away to grab a glass of water.
I just make a face.
Get the water and come back, and I just pull the hood down and just look at you and just, sorry, it's been a rough day. It's been a rush. And just point back at the crowd, like, thanks for coming in. This was the easiest order I've had to do today. I appreciate it.
Yeah. This is me laughing, not Peg. Yeah, go do what you need to do. I'm going to sit here and I'll be really quick.
Okay, if you need anything else, just push the button. And then walk into the kitchen. All right. And I go back to work.
Cool. And as you eat your meal, it's everything you would want it to be. It definitely is reminiscent. Definitely reminiscent. So, meta, game breaking. Have you guys ever had seaweed?
Yes.
I love seaweed salad. Yeah.
I've never had it, but I had a friend at school who ate it all the time. So when you're like seaweed, I was like, it's very normal.
Yeah. Zach and
I've
Beth
got,
have
like-
these those little chips, and they have some salt on them, and they're so addicting.
Yeah, I love seaweed.
I'm gonna have to try it. All right, back to game. So as you eat your meal, Gasca comes over.
Wait, hold on. Pause the game real quick. Again.
Yeah.
That wasn't a bullshit recipe. That's the beginning of the recipe for seaweed salad that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
With the sesame salad and the right. Anyway, okay, back to the.
You know your shit.
So yeah, as you're eating, Gasca comes over, but he's still in this aquarium, right? So he's just up against the glass, and he's just like, "How is it?"
Oh, phenomenal. Is there anything that you need from me?
Nope. And he just points down, and as you look down, you have an ID for the station as well. It's just like a temporary visitor ID, but on it has your credits, and you see like the numbers start going down for you paying, and it's getting low, right? Like this 20 credit meal is bringing it down to like fairly low. Like you had
this.
What was that?
For seaweed. Yes.
Oh yeah, I mean this is the future. Inflation is real.
That was one of the cheapest things on the menu too.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Gasca's just like, "Do you need work?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like it, huh? I have like negative $10 now. I actually owe you.
And yeah, he's like, we won't worry about that, but like, you're gonna have to pay rent. You need to do other things at a station. Like eating isn't the only expense here.
What can I do?
And he's like, what can you do?
Right. I like to chop. I know how to make this seaweed salad stuff because I made it for myself at home. So I could do that. I can wash things. I'm pretty good at cleaning windows. I don't know. What kind of work do you need me to do? I can pose for pictures.
Yeah, and as you're talking, he like brings up his phone and starts like scrolling through it, just looking for things that notes, like him being the owner of this establishment, he hears a lot. And he goes through and he's like, all right, let me just rattle off some things that I've heard over the past couple weeks. So the first one he gets to on the third ring. No, the fourth ring. Nope. The third ring. There's been murders that they can't figure out. There's a reward to figure out who's doing that down there. And he scrolls past further, and he's like, the Bionic Artifice, the shop over there that sells secondhand bionic parts, human parts, like arms, legs, eyes. They have a job to repossess body parts that haven't been paid for. And then he starts scrolling over, and he's like, there's always off-station jobs in the second ring. And the second ring is like this really weird, sketchy. It used to be the prison, I believe, and is now, let me just double check to make sure I'm not lying to you. Because I've got, second floor used to be a prison, but it was a temporary structure because they knew they were going to build a prison off station. So this giant, or the small ring full of cells is now like this weird flea market. And it's not like it is. Stores not on the sixth ring are never like above board. Like if you're going to have a store that is completely illegal, you're going to have it on the sixth ring where the most people come. Mm-hmm. So, like the second floor is a little sketch, but there's always off station work there. And then the last thing is that he's looking for a new connection to Capri to help his fish shipments.
Okay. Two of those sounded pretty dangerous.
I mean, money doesn't come easy on the station.
Okay. I was not aware of that because I'm living off of what I had left. First job on the station. Okay. So I thought I was gonna be just helping you make fish stuff.
Oh no, our kitchen is full. And our staff is full.
I see. Okay, so more my speed then, because I want to learn. I want to talk to other people the murdery stuff sounded kind of creepy. I suppose the flea market thing, even though I don't really want to sell fish, that seems like the most above board. Let's go with that.
The second floor?
Sure.
Cool. That's great. I can give you a contact there, but you need to get a fake ID because you don't have access to the second ring.
Okay. A fake ID.
Yeah.
Wait.
So your current ID only allows you access to the sixth ring because you're not a citizen of the station. And then he points to the kitchen like Wick over there. They literally live on the fourth ring. So they have access to multiple rings. You not being a citizen, you only have access to the ring you're on.
Mm-hmm. I
So
gotta say, this is not what I imagined this would be.
Oh no.
Coming all the way over from Capri. Okay.
No. This is not a planet. And this is not. And you see him like
spinning.
shaking. Yeah, he's like shaking his head, and he's just like, all right. So what I can help you with is the bionic artifice, the one that does like the body parts. I know he sells fake IDs.
Okay.
There's also a station on the sixth ring, the planetary identification office, and you could become a citizen. But becoming a citizen requires that you get a place. So you'll need to buy or rent an apartment on one of the other rings, and then get your ID.
Which would take time and a lot more money to make the money to buy the place.
It does. It takes money to make money.
Yeah, I think even though I'm not a super fan, I might have to start with the fake to begin with. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna run out of rent for my temporary housing.
Yeah, you probably have some weeks left, but yeah, it's getting a little bit closer, and that like this is the last month you have money for.
So what's like a mid-level paying job out of these three?
The mid-level?
Yeah.
So
and I need an ID for all of them.
You would need an ID for all except maybe bionic artifice.
Well, let's start with whatever.
Because he's the one that
ID
needs you. He needs to get his body parts back that people aren't paying for.
Oh God.
Wick's gonna stick her head out of the kitchen real quick. Hey, boss.
Yeah.
Ralph had a little bit of a knife incident. We might need to get that checked out. Are you guys okay?
And Gaska's like, Gaska doesn't have a care in the world. He's just like, yeah.
And then, what do you want me to send somebody? Dude, I can take care of it, or
take care of Ralph?
Yeah.
Yeah, just make sure none of the blood gets in the food.
There's a lot of blood.
Just get him out the back and make sure he gets bound up.
Okay. Can you send Susan from up front to come back here and maybe help?
Yeah, and he starts shuffling waiters around for you.
And just looks at, and she just puts her hand out to you two, like, sorry, you look like you're busy. Don't know if I can help with anything. I want to go. If you guys need any help getting anything, let me know. I'm going to go. I don't want to do this. I'd rather help you two figuring out whatever you're doing, but I'm going to go.
Yeah.
All right. And I squeeze out of the way to let Susan get by. And then after letting you two know that I can help with something, turn and go back to help Ralph.
Yeah.
She seems like she has connections.
Yeah, and Gaska's like, I don't know if she's got connections, but she does need to get off the station. So there could be something there to help you. Wick has access to all of this, the rings below 5, and could be of use. His ID will not get you onto that station though. If you enter an elevator and it picks you up, like her. If you get into the elevator and it picks up like Peg's ID, it won't go down.
Okay, so it sounds like I need to get this fake then, and I don't want to have a permanent place here because I want to get off planet or off the station to go to Toral. Because in my mind, my goal is to I'm dabbling more into anthropology, and I want to learn about that, but I also want to learn what's happening down there because that's where my ancestry is from. So let's do this fake ID thing, even though I don't super love it, so I can make money to get off.
Yeah, and he's just like, okay, why don't you finish up here, come back at night, and I'll have Wick bring you over, because Wick is more familiar with the ring. And you'll have to go to the Bionic Artifice after hours. So he's not going to do this in front of customers.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And he just kind of swims away and goes to another table because he's already spent way too much time with you.
Mm-hmm. I guess I finish up and I try to kind of get Wick's attention, like me eyes. I don't know if there's some kind of window. You probably can't really see back there. So I'm going to walk towards the door a little bit, which is...
To like the door of the kitchen?
Daring for me. Yeah.
Yeah, and as you walk up, the door swings open and someone rushes out with plates almost bumping into you and then like kind of half turning around you to get to a table.
Is that Wick?
No. It's just this door is constantly rotating with food coming out.
I'm just
Wick
gonna
looks up at the commotion of the plates jingling and just looks over the counter on her tippy toes, sees you looking in, just shakes her head and just ducks back down.
Okay, and I kind of do one of these, like, I'll meet you later. And
you can see a thumbs up come over the counter.
I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, and as you leave,
you see Susan mopping blood in the front of the kitchen.
You're right.
And as you like get out of the restaurant, you can go and just kind of just spend your day looking around the sixth ring, right?
I want to go lay in some grass for about 5 minutes to get my composure back
together. I mean, you could lay in grass
for
for hours if you wanted, right? It's only 1 o'clock. You're probably not going to meet up with him until like 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's
my zen place. Go ahead.
as you leave, Gaska just explains to Wick that he might have found a way to get you off planet, and that you're gonna meet up with Peg after work to see if you can get work.
What does she need?
She just needs to get off planet too. She has no money. They're either gonna kick her off or
you can't get off ring without money, and you can't make money on the ring.
Oh, there's 2 ways to get off ring. 1, get a ship.
Right.
2,
the other one's not as fun.
Not pay your rent.
Yeah, but we don't want to do the second one.
Right. So you're gonna help her. You're gonna both get off the station. You've been a good help here, but I know you need to get off, so we're gonna help you get out.
I mean, I appreciate that, but we don't. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks. And she hangs the apron on the hook and goes and sits on the bench behind the restaurant and just waits.
Cool. So because there's like some intermittent time, is there anything either of you want to do between 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock?
I'm just working. You got to pay rent when you're on the ring.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm prepaid, and I have negative $10 credit.
Yeah, he's just gonna waive that though. We'll just bring it to 0. We'll just be like, yeah, don't worry.
Okay. I'm gonna take a stroll. Let's see what else is over here. Because I think I would people watch. Like, I'm one of those creeps who would just sit on a park bench in front of Old Toril or someplace and see how they interact with it. Because that's what I'm curious to know. Like, I know that it's commercialized, but this is still my first time ever being on a space station and really being off of my own planet and still trying to get oriented.
Sure. That makes total sense. I mean, as you're walking around, there's a lot of things that could stand out, right? The statue of Lathander is the most ornate thing on the station, as far as anyone knows. Over where you were before, there's the Old Toril. If you keep walking over towards 9, that's the planetary identification office, and it's where you can kind of get your passports and visas and things like that. You see a little number 10 is a little arcade. 11 is a tavern, but it's kind of rough. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. There's restaurants, more restaurants. There's clothing stores. There's places that sell jewelry, sell weapons, sell fake body parts, sell ships. There's a little somewhere that you could potentially go because you're broke is the 16th building over here is called the Pod Motel, and it's just beds. It's like really small, one night rent type places.
I want to stand in front of the statue. I'm sure there's going to be people around there.
Oh yeah.
I want to learn more about it. So if there's I imagine there's somebody sitting, is it like a fountain kind of thing?
No. So Lathander is the god of new beginnings.
Okay.
So it's a statue of this man decked out in like a small cape, billowing sleeves, these giant boots, and there's like little plaques that just have like information about who he is. Some of his titles, like the Morning Lord or Commander of Creativity or the Inspiration's Dawn. Yeah, there's just like different information. You see like a little sun kind of symbol being one of his holy symbols.
Okay. And
the people walking around, like most of them just know it, right? It's one of the staples. Like people who think about Lathander's ring know that there's a statue to Lathander. You might know that like centuries ago, a statue like this would be worshipped because it's a symbol for Lathander. It no longer is. It's just kind of like a in remembrance.
Is there an end date to the are there some years on it?
No.
Okay.
It's not like Lathander died.
Yeah.
It's just it's kind of like how some churches become tourist attractions rather than places of worship. Like this would just be like more of like a tourist attraction at this point.
Okay. I guess that's it. Like on my long stroll, I would have come. I'm gonna meet them around the back this time of the restaurant.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we'll grab you.
Are there windows? Does it look dark to us, or is
so
here?
all light is artificial, other than the minor glow that might come off of Toril.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, at 10 o'clock, all the artificial lights are dimmed to like kind of fake day and night.
Yeah, because otherwise it would just be like 8-minute day, night,
Yep.
on a space station. Okay. This Truman Show light. I'm gonna not be too far. Let's see. So this is 7. What's over here on the edge? Are those like the hotels?
These things?
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the outside edges of both are kind of the apartments that you live in. So there's some diplomats, there's other travelers, there's traders, people who are coming just to do business for a couple days. And you've got one that was a little bit longer. It was a full month.
I'm gonna lean against a tree and take out my tablet and start to jot down some notes of just what I'm learning about Lathander and the the police people from before.
The Covenant.
The Covenant. And some things that I'm learning until I see Wick come out.
You don't see Wick come out.
Okay.
I'm
going to be standing here for a while.
No, she was sitting on the bench.
Oh, you're right.
But if you had come the other way, you might not have seen her. So Wick's just going to walk up and try to lean over and look at the tablet. So how's your day?
Oh, hello.
She extends
probably
her
not
claw.
As eventful as yours. I'll stick my paw out to shake it.
Sorry about earlier. It's been a long day. I was late too. This guy almost cut his hand off. It was a lot. Sorry about that.
Do you see blood every day?
Like I won't say we see blood every day, but there's a different chef probably once a week.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Gaska's not able to hold them, huh?
Gaska is not always easy to work for. We'll just put it that way. And we're like
Wow.
the only place that serves real food, so it's always busy.
It's high pressure.
So, sorry about earlier. I'm Wick. Nice to meet you officially.
Hi. Oh my gosh. I'm Peg. Do you need a minute, or are you?
No, it's
Are you
fine.
good?
It's just another day at work. You know, I'm off now, so it's fine. Usually, I just head right back down to the fourth ring. So, but Gaskin said you needed help with
Yes,
something.
that would be huge for me. I'm. Yeah, I need to find a job basically. And
Do you
so
have an ID yet?
No, I think, well, only for this floor. So if you could help me out with how I could get to lower floors so I could work down there, that would be huge for me.
Do you want to go to the lower floors? It's not always. I don't know how today went for you, but it's not always sunshine and rainbows on the other floors either.
Yeah, I can't say I was looking forward to it. Honestly, Gasca didn't even tell me that was going to be a part of this. I'm
Oh,
but
do you know Gasca?
yeah, he's actually the reason why I was able to come to this station. So I've never actually lived on a station before. I'm from a water planet, so
Carpray?
yes,
And she just points
exactly,
back at that one.
exactly.
How close is this place to your home?
It took a while to get here.
Did we nail the vibe and the atmosphere? Was it
No,
no? Not, oh,
no.
sorry. I've never really been off the ring much, so I don't really.
I guess that would be kind of difficult. Like, I guess imagine a picture of a tree versus an actual tree, but are there even trees here?
Yeah, in the garden, there's like trees. It's not like a forest, right? It's like a park.
Okay. Like, I know it must be really difficult for Gasca too, because on our home planet, like the entire planet is water. He's used to being there. Now he's stuck in those tanks, but you got to do what you have to do to make money. Yeah. That's why I'm here. But yeah, so I guess what do? We need to find an elevator, or do you?
So
who do you know?
And she kind of glares at her. Who?
Never mind.
Who do you know?
I'm new at this. I don't really. I need a
first rule. Don't ask questions like that. That'll be the first rule.
Okay. Fewer words.
No, just don't. Who do you know is not a great leading question.
Got it. Okay.
There's that body thief. He can help you get an ID, but he's probably going to ask you something shady. We could say you were my roommate. That would help. Second apartment. I might know some other people, but I do not want to talk to them. One of those first two would probably be your best bet.
Okay. Roomie.
So I could go down to third ring, fourth ring, the secondhand artificer.
No, so the second hand is on the sixth ring. He's on this floor. Okay.
I'm sorry. I thought we were on the floor.
No, yeah. What he sells is totally legit. Like, people want these like cyborg pieces. What isn't so legit is the way he repossesses them.
Okay.
Like, if someone doesn't pay or someone buys it with like fake stuff, like, he's gonna get it back no matter what.
She would know his reputation, so she. She looks down on him as the
body thief.
I'm like, let's just. Everything here is fake. It's not fake. Those trees are real, like you said.
Yeah.
But they were put here from a scientist on the fifth ring. Those trees didn't come from a planet. They've never seen real oxygen. Everything here is fake. Everyone has an agenda. Everyone is hiding something. That guy is a body thief. He will probably ask you to steal a handbag from someone who couldn't give him 5 credits. But if we're willing to play the game, he can get you that ID. We can at least see what he says. We can say no at least for a little while if it goes too far. He is still in the 6th ring, and he's got to keep that appearance up. And you being off-worlder, he's not going to push you too far. It's worth a shot
Or
before
a
we try
lot
the other
far.
thing. Huh?
Okay. Whatever's the least shady. It appears that this is.
If you wanted not shady, Lathander's ring was not the best place
I
to
know,
come to.
right? I am disillusioned. Okay. It sounds like I have to do this, so I'm coming with you.
All right, let's try it. She pulls her hood up again and just starts walking slowly, trying to avoid any major crowds or groups of people again.
So yeah, as you guys make your way through, you're going to go from 17 to 20, which is the Bionic Artifice.
Wow, we got
Oops.
really tall.
Boop, boop. So next to the Bionic Artifice, just so I can give you some sense of where you are, 20 is Bionic Artifice. 21 is the Bionic Creature Emporium. It's like a zoo of fake animals. And then 22 is Advanced Biosuits. So things like what you would need to survive out in space. This whole row are kind of connected in the fact that they're all to enhance or to replicate things that were real.
Okay. It's like an amusement park.
Yeah.
A really creepy one.
So as you guys walk up to the Bionic Artifice, all doors on the ring on the station open automatically if they're unlocked. But because all these shops are closed, you walk up and the door doesn't open.
Okay.
I'm going to try to knock on it.
Yeah. And as you knock, you hear just like rustling and like metal clanking around. And from below, like, I guess for you, it would be almost eye height, maybe a little shorter. A little slit opens in the door, and you just see two goblin eyes looking through. And it's an older man, real wrinkly, and he's like, "What do you need?"
Did Gasca tell you we were coming?
No. Who are you?
I'm Wick. You put this voice box in.
Oh.
Come on.
Oh.
I know it's night, but you can't. Do you not remember? Okay, anyway.
Yeah, no, whatever. What do you guys need?
This is Peg. We need an ID. Gasca said you'd help.
Yeah, and immediately the little eye thing shuts, and you hear like click, 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 and then the full door opens, and behind it you see this just worn out gnome, and he's got like giant glasses on with like different prescription levels that he can kind of like flip in. His like you can see mechanical body parts in him. Like one of his eyes has been replaced, and you see it's like a mechanical eye.
Do we know his name? Did Gasca say it earlier?
No, but you would, I guess, know him. He doesn't remember you at all because
Sure.
This is just something he does. But you would know his name is Zanser.
Okay. How do you spell Zanser?
Zanser.
Okay.
So yeah, and he's kind of got like clicks, and he's extremely eccentric. But as you like walk in, you just see like fake arms rows, and then like on the counter, you'll see like an eye in this like holder being crafted and made. And it's just like all different little body parts.
Is it bionic or fleshy?
So it's like a mixture, right? Like some of them are made to replicate real looking limbs. So you'll see even like in the back corner, you might even see a tabaxi arm that looks like a real tabaxi, right? Because he's not just making human body parts, he's not making gnome body parts. It's like everything.
Okay.
And
It's like a little friendly. Like he looks like he's helping people.
And yeah, and I think a lot of people would say he is. Like
Yeah.
Wick's voice box was great. Wick paid off her debt, and everything worked out great. Some other people, though, like if you were to talk around, there'd be like other rumors of things he's done that could be seen as cruel. He would say it's business.
Mm-hmm.
Wick turns around to Peg real quick, and just makes eye contact and tries to whisper, "Don't mention money. Don't talk about it." And then she turns back to Zanzer. She's, "How's business been?"
Yeah, and you see him just kind of like like kind of bring you forward, and there's a room behind the counter, and he just walks into there.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna say like he's not talkative, but he's definitely maybe not used to talking to people, right? He surrounds himself with fake things. He doesn't leave like the shop very often. And in the back room, if you guys follow him, there's like a desk where he's working, and you can see like a computer and other, just more storage things. There's also raw materials like gems and metals that he uses to like craft in the front space.
I turn back to Peg and say, "Can I see the temporary ID you have?"
I pull it out in my bag.
And then I head back into Xander's office and set it in front of him. Like, we need a real ID so she can get to the lower 4 rings.
Yeah, and as he kind of like gets himself up onto the chair, because his furniture wasn't made for a gnome. As he turns around, you see that one of his eyes are fake, and it glows blue and green and kind of changes over time. His left arm is completely replaced and squeaks as it moves. His teeth, as he talks, you can see all his teeth are now metal. And then he's surrounded by all these other just body parts. So like it's kind of like the cobbler's kids have no shoes,
yeah.
right? Like he's building stuff for other people and too busy to replace his stuff. And he grabs with his metal arm the ID from you and then slips it into a slot on his computer. And then just asks like, what do you guys need?
Just access to the lower 4.
Yeah, and he starts tapping on his computer, and he's like, she's only been here a month. And types, and all you see is like data on this sheet, and like he's pulling information about you. Like things that Wick wouldn't know, things that you might not even know the station has.
Super.
Yeah, and he's like, all right. And the screen goes black. He's like, you're going to need to pay for it, though.
Yeah, we can talk about that, Xander, buddy, pal, friend of mine. How much would that be? Or we can make a trade. Is there a job you need done?
Yeah, it's probably going to be like 500 to 1,000 credits.
Man, Xander, you know.
Yeah.
What about a trade? To the lower 4? You know no one wants to go down there. If I was asking for the higher rings, maybe. This is maybe
no,
200.
And he goes, I know you want to get there. You wouldn't be asking if you didn't need it, and the higher rings would be much, much more expensive.
Okay. What about a job?
All
I know
right.
you're looking for work.
Yeah, and he turns his computer back on and starts bringing up past orders. And as they're flipping through, one pops out red.
Okay.
And he opens that up, and he's like, all right, I got a guy here who hasn't paid. He's got an arm. I need it back. He lives on the 4th ring. It's been 3 months that he hasn't paid his fees. And
Do I
then
recognize him? The picture that pops up?
no, it just looks like another guy. But when you guys start talking about that, a door behind Xanser opens because there is a second room, and a like thug looking half orc comes in, and he's like, oh, I know that guy's Ronag. Good luck.
What's Ronag?
Ronag is just the guy that's on the 4th floor. He's the one who's got this bionic arm. He's also a half orc, so the thug might know him, but the thug could also just be saying like, half orcs are tough. Like you're gonna have a tough time trying to get this arm back.
So Wick just looks at him and then kind of nods at the hologram. Like, do you know this guy? What's his deal?
You talking to the thug?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I've been trying to get that arm back for a month. I don't think he's on. I don't think he's on the 4th ring anymore.
Oh, like you haven't found him and then just not gotten it.
Right, I haven't found him.
Okay.
There's rumors that Ronag made his way down to the 1st floor.
Why can't we track? Did he like lose his ID or boost it or something? Did he sneak down there?
We think he stole someone else's.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, we think he's on the 1st level. I'm not going down there.
So no
I thought-
family, no connections that you guys know of.
Nope. He lost his arm
Off
in
world or from the ring?
no on the ring. He was working on the factory floor and destroyed it.
Oof.
So we replaced it. He was supposed to pay us back. I guess he's not working. I guess he didn't want to go back to work, and now he's hiding.
And that's the only job you need right now, Zanzer, huh?
Yeah, he's
The
slipping
guy
through.
you can't find.
He's like, "Would you rather get a liver from me?"
I guess if it's from the governor, right? She chuckles to herself and then turns to Peg. What do you think?
We can find him in return for a
Well,
temporary
I
ID.
I could find him.
No, and as he's talking, he pops out your ID card and he kind of like tosses it to Peg. And he goes, "You've access to the first floor now. Give me the arm,
Okay.
and I'll give you the access to the rest."
Okay.
Are you sure? Are you okay with this? The first ring's not like this ring.
Yeah, and Wick might know, like, the fourth ring is rough. The first ring is like the slums. The first ring is built around the engine core. So it's really warm, but it's mostly water that was used to cool down the engine. So there's other sea people, kind of like Aska, living down there, but like people who couldn't quite get to even the fourth floor.
Mhm.
In addition to that, there's the floor is all this metal grate, and people just built structures with scrap metal down there.
Okay.
So it's like a really weird, kind of scudsy ring floor.
And we just have to find him.
And get me the
at
arm
this
back.
point. Get the arm back. I see. I'm at least gonna say okay right now. Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
And as you walk out,
I just kind of salute
Yeah.
Sanser and just.
and Sanzer's like, "Remember, you are already in my debt for that first level. You don't
Noted.
come back, you're gonna owe me."
And he'll find us.
Yeah, and as you guys leave, like the door closes from the back room. As you go out through the front door, the door closes, and you hear it like all lock up again.
And I imagine that I try to bump into the orc, but I am much shorter than he is, so it's not.
The thug, yeah.
Okay, so we're out front now. Like, right?
Yeah,
the door
and
is shut
you-
behind us.
Yeah, and either you can go home and do this in the morning, or you could go immediately to the elevator and just try to go find Ronag.
Like,
I look. Wick just looks up at Peg like, "How are you feeling?" I think we should try to go now. The
Yeah.
factories are closed down. Most people are at home. If we go during the day, there's going to be more people in the streets. If you're okay to go now, I think we try.
I think we should because
But
like
look,
it's-
do
don't
you
wanna-
have? And please don't take offense to this. Do you have less fancy clothes?
I'll see.
You will
what I
stick
can
out
do.
like a sore thumb if you go down dressed like you are right now.
So what are you thinking? Like, I've got another outfit. I could like. What does it
Nothing
need
that
to
looks
look
like it. Nothing that looks like it costs more than 10 credits.
I could dirty it up a little and make it look stolen.
If you're okay with that, I don't think that would hurt. But
Okay,
and the other thing, you need to stay close to me when we're down there.
I'll see what I can do. I'm gonna. Which building am I in? 8?
We're
Let's go
down here
over
for
to-
now.
Well, I seem to
remember
have
where you were
forgotten
staying.
where I live.
You were just
Meet me
scanning.
over-
Yeah.
Let's go over there. Meet me by the Lathander statue in 20 minutes.
Oops.
And I'm gonna run to my room. And I have like a simple white outfit and like put some maybe like a hole in it or something and come back out.
Okay, so Peg is now wearing kind of fake dirty clothes, probably clearly manufactured but trying. Wick already sort of wearing clothes, and you guys meet up at the elevator. It's probably 10:30, 11 o'clock now, so it's fairly late for the station.
Okay. And I look at him like, "You sure? Last time Last chance to get out.
Let's go.
So you
Put
guys,
my collar up.
So you're gonna get in here. It's gonna flash, show you what to do. And you're only gonna be able to hit the one floor. That is if Xanser didn't mess something up.
yeah, and you both have to go in like individual capsules because it's not a multi-person thing. So
I'll go first.
all the elevators have like 12 different capsules that you can. So you guys can both enter your own ones.
Okay.
You both slip your feet into the little loops. Your IDs come up, and in fact, Pegs, yours has the 6th floor that you're currently on and the 1st floor lit up. And Wick still has all of his or hers. So you guys all go straight back down. You go weightless, which I don't know if Peg really has experienced much weightlessness. Yeah, weightless, and then you're shot all the way down to the 1st ring.
Did you say they were clear?
No.
Like the pneumatic tubes? Oh, okay.
No, and you're in a metal shaft that connects all of them. Yeah.
Okay.
So it like straightens out. You land on the 1st ring, and as you get out, the most noticeable thing you guys get is it's just super loud down here. The engine is roaring. People are screaming. There's a smoke that fills the room from all of the engine work and things that people are just doing down here. Like it's a lawless ring. Beneath your feet, when you step out of the elevator, you're on a metal grate, and below you is water. And as you look down, you can just see like dozens of different sea creatures that go all the way down into like the depths of this engine bay. And all around you are metal structures, but they're not like built. It's like sheet metal that was just kind of like placed up against each other, or different parts of ships that might have come in for repair and not been repaired. They might have brought down like panels from there. And you just see like the 4th ring was kind of rough. Like it is not uncommon here just to see people fighting in the streets. When the station was founded, the goblinoid races of Toril sieged war against one of the station or the liftoff areas and fought their way onto one of the stations. And were given like property to stop the war and to like a peace treaty. So a certain amount of goblins made it to the station, but when they got here, they were all put here. So there's a lot of goblins, a lot of humanoids, half orcs, different sea elves, like all the races that didn't really have much value towards the people who were running Lathander's ring were like put here, and they've got pretty angry over the hundreds of years that they've been down here. Most of them have had their access to 6th ring revoked because of breaking rules. So most of the people haven't left the 1st ring in either their entire life or many years. And I think that's where we're going to end our session 1, is with you guys in the 1st ring looking for Ronag with his bionic arm.
Okay.
Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Zach, for coming in and recording our 1st episode. Next week, we'll figure out how to introduce Dan and get him into your party. I guess, Courtney, where can we find you?
Courtney M. Leach on Instagram.
Zach?
That ZS Wilkinson on Instagram and Twitter, but I'm not on there as much.
Cool. And I'm at Noble Folk Design on Instagram and Twitter. I just want to thank again all our patrons. You can find information about that at patreon.com/DNDesignersPod. And you can find us at DN Designers Pod on Instagram and Twitter. I don't think I've got anything else to share.
Go ahead.
Oh, feel free to message me. I would love to make some friends who listen to the show or tell me how it's going on your end when you start playing with us. Yeah.
And tell your friends about the show. Word of mouth helps get more people into the show than anything else does.
And yeah, if you guys would like access to the document we're making for this episode, we've said it a couple times in past episodes, but every Patreon at the $5 tier will get access to this document we're writing. So all the information that we've had today regarding the rings and the political standings and all that is being recorded. We're kind of creating a document that I can reference and keep things consistent this time. We're not doing campaign 1 anymore. Where campaign 1, I was like, what was their name? And then we'd all have to spend time guessing what the name was from last time.
Starts with Nif. Yeah.
Yeah, every name started with N, all right? I'm being careful about that this time. All right, guys. We will see you in 2 weeks with episode 2. Be safe.
Susan's still cleaning up blood, by the way.
Yeah, just so much blood. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's another episode of Dungeons and Designers. Intro music is by Mon Plaisir. Editing and animation was done by me, your friendly DM, Will. Find this and more in the description.